booths at Herald the game. What is it about?
Hello, I'm Roy. I'm lead writer and founder of Wispfire, and we've created the interactive period drama Herald that you will see here. Herald is a game about 19th century colonialism in which you play as this man here called Devin Rensburg. Devin Rensburg is a man of mixed heritage who traveled back home to his country of birth and then somehow ended up in this room with this mysterious lady that is holding him prisoner. She wants to know what he is up to and why he traveled back to his country of birth, and that's why in this game you answer lots of questions that she asks she asks you. She's not really happy with a lot of the things that you say sometimes, because she really wants to know what your motivations are and how your character is. So she's very much a judge of, she's judging your character by the way you play the game.
You did not finish your stories,
So unlike
and I
other
know that you
adventures,
so speak
you
up.
actually have a story that can be different depending on how you play the game.
Exactly. The way you play the game influences the storyline, and it branches off in multiple different paths, but it mostly has to do with the way in which the characters perceive you and what they think about you. So like how I answer these questions changes the way the characters behave when you are around. For example, I'm going to show you in this demo that a missing gun was stolen from the weapons cache, and they want there was something on board happened that made it very important. So in this demo we're going back in time, trying to find out who stole the gun and see if we can catch the thief, basically. So as you see here, we're going back in time now, and we're going about 6 months back on board of the ship, which is the Herald that you see here.
You said that this happens in an alternate history of the 19th century in Europe.
Yes.
And the game looks very much Asian, or at least Middle East. So were the people in the Middle East more influential in this alternate reality?
Yes, the interesting thing is Herald is based on the history of Western European colonization and the East Indies. And in this game, we wanted the player to be able to explore lots of different conflicts and dilemmas resulting from that era. But we didn't want to take one country. So what we did, we basically kind of decided like, okay, we take Western Europe as like a continent, and we create an empire called the Protectorate, and we take the West Indies and we call them the Eastern Colonies in our game. And basically most of the politics is on the backdrop, but the conflicts are what is the consequences of the politics. So on board of the ship there is a lot of class divisions between different crew members and passengers, and the dilemmas resulting from, for example, racism, classism, discrimination, sexuality, these are the basis of the storyline. And as a steward, Devin, who's a steward on board of the Herald, he has to solve most of their problems.
The letter also.
So what happens is, while Devin is trying to solve those problems, he comes into conflict that people expect him to be either more Western or more colonial because he is mixed heritage. So he's always struggling kind of whether he should abide the law or should kind of fight against the oppression that he clearly sees happening in this 19th century society. And as a player you get to decide what you do and what the best solution is to tackle that problem. By going through every chapter in the game, you solve a different dilemma between different passengers. And by the end of the game, you have made several friends, depending on what dilemmas and how you solve them. Which means, once you finish the story, you have an entirely different setup for your ending. And depending on how you've help the passengers on board, the mysterious lady in the tower
painting seemed-
will decide your fate. Now what that fate specifically is, I'm not going to tell, but the endings are vastly different because of that. So expect at least 3 different endings that are very different based on what you've played before.
But isn't it also possible that the player ends up in a dead end?
Not really.
someone spying on me?
Characters can die, characters can be saved, but
no.
Devon
I never knew
is
this was
already
here.
at the destination. So he survives.
sorry.
You know that he is the only one that survives. He
Devon?
has to.
What
So
are you doing in
even
there?
though characters die,
you snipping
it
up?
doesn't
I didn't
mean
expect
that
you to be that kind
you
of
as a
person.
player will stop playing. The story always continues. There's no game over.
No, I'm looking for a missing girl.
Okay, so but still, I wonder if there aren't pieces. There are some pieces of the story that are based off other pieces of the story, and if you somehow manage to get rid of one character,
start,
which
please
was
listen to
responsible
me.
for one piece of the story, and
I know it's
then
against the
there's
captain's
no
rules and
other
all.
man and
Some
matching,
rules are
so
going
you
to
can't
be
continue. But you say that can't happen.
No, we've written the story entirely in a way that there is no
Ludlow,
way
I
that the
can't
story
believe you
will
disregard
end
for authority.
on a
When are
dead
you going
end.
to live up to your
We have written
title,
it in a way that
sir?
it'll always continue. So the chapters will unfold in a way that feels natural and that the dialogue naturally flows into each other. And even though there are multiple branching paths, there is always a sense of completion and a sense of flow that we do not
lecture
want
me.
to and we will
Not
not
after I just
let
caught you
go.
going through
So every
Brunswick's
path will
private
feel like a
belongings.
natural solution to a problem, even though the way you played it might have been totally
Are you
different
willing to
to how
explain to me
someone
what's
else has
wrong?
played it.
You seem troubled.
So now we concentrated a lot on the
Don't worry.
background, and we saw in the
beginning.
beginning one scene, and then we had a flashback to 6 months in the past. You
changed
said,
my mind.
what was the situation in the first sequence?
The situation in the first sequence is that the mysterious lady called the Rani has taken Devon prisoner, and you as Devon, as a player, don't know how you ended up there. The only thing you know is that she wants
I'm just
to
a
know
little
what
worried,
happened on board of the Herald.
What are you actually going
and
to do
that's
with
how
that?
you basically play
I
the
hope you
entire
are trying
game.
to-
You go back in time, tell part of your story, then you go back to the Rani, to the woman, and she will explain to you, or she will ask you questions like, why did you do that, and why did you make that decision?
I hope you weren't trying
and
to-
by doing so,
I'm not
you basically
suicidal.
change
It's
what
just-
she'll do with you in the end.
It's just not
Okay,
like
so
I know the
we are
region
also
they need
determining
them.
our future, not only that we survive,
It says
but
clearly
our
that
future, what
every
will
officer
happen
is
to
allowed
us.
to-
Exactly.
every officer
Yes,
Devon.
by helping Devon tell his story, you determine what the future of Devon will be at the Rani's tower.
Okay, we of course don't want to spoil too much, but do these jumps between time frames happen more often?
Yes, they do. Actually, in between every chapter, you jump back to the Rani's tower, where she will tell you a story. But the interesting thing is, during that tower sequence, you sometimes discover things about your own story that have an influence on the way you want to tell your story. So these present and
is the
current
right to
day
carry a gun
events
so
influence each other, because it's not necessary that what Devon perceives or tells as reality is reality, of course. So we play with that a little bit.
I hope you won't blow my mind on the way.
But get the damn gun,
No, I
Devon.
won't.
It's not about
we
that.
hope so, but the story probably will blow your mind, because we have a lot of interesting twists and turns
I just
that
want
will
the captain
definitely
to
keep
know
you hooked
that
and got you
if
ready
he
for
gives
more.
up his rights,
Okay, so is this game already released, or when are you planning to do
for
so?
some reason,
We are planning to release the game this coming winter. The specific date you will find at heraldgame.com in a couple of months. So go to heraldgame.com and you will find the release date by November. Then we know for sure. But it will probably be around the winter months.
Do you have a price in mind?
about
What's gonna
this
be in
before,
real
Devon.
life?
However
Herald
hard
will be
we work,
released in two
people like
parts.
us do
The
need
first
some luck to
part
get
will be
where I
released
am
in
now.
coming winter.
And I'm
The
still
next
never
part will be
trusted to make
released
my own decisions.
7 to 8 months after that. And we aim to make every
like an
part about
officer in
4 hours
nothing but
long,
name.
and it will be $9.99 per part.
Okay, thank you very much for the interview. I hope you are very successful
won't
with
achieve
your
any
game because
recognition
it
by
sounds
breaking
very
the captain's
interesting
rules.
and like you have
If
some
an
very
officer
good
wants
ideas.
respect, he has to deserve it.
Last
I won't tell anybody
question
to put
is,
the gun,
as
but
always,
only if
may
you
we
return it to the
publish
weapons
this
man.
interview and the game material that we have
If you
recorded
do,
on
then do
YouTube?
it now,
Yes,
before the
you
shift
may
changes
publish
and
this
everyone
game
wakes
on
up.
YouTube, and you may show everything that I've shown you today and told you today about our game. Thank you very much.
Thank you.